News of the day, Barry Tremmell had a report that OSU contacted you about its head coach opening and you seriously considered. I wondered if you had a comment about it.
Well, I guess I can have a comment if it's worth commenting on something. 10 months ago, I did talk to him, and I spoke to OSU every time there's been an opening in that position for the last, since Coach Sutton had left. So not necessarily about hiring me, but about, could be names or what I thought needed to happen in order for OSU to compete in this league at a high level. So yeah, I did talk to them. I also read in that article that I stayed holed up. What was the term? Hold up at Karsten Creek. I have holed up in Stillwater before, but it's only been the night before that we've actually played a game. I haven't been to Stillwater and spent a night in the last 20 years unless, I believe, I could be accurate, maybe I did 15 years ago or something at some point in time at a reunion or something, but I haven't been there unless my team's staying there. So that was totally inaccurate. I think that they got the right guy. But I did talk to them, and my administration knew that I talked to them. But it wasn't near to the point of what was presented in the article, at least the way it was presented to me after other people have read it. So that's basically it.
Same in 2008. Did you talk to him?
I talked to him more seriously in 2008. More, but yes, I did talk to him in 2008. I believe I talked to him when Brad left, and I believe I talked to him when Sean may have left too. I believe I may have talked to him when Travis left as well. But there's a big difference in talking and than actually interest in considering. So
Did they make formal offers?
I talked to him, and you know something, Gary, I'm not going to go into detail what we talked about. We probably talked about what it would take to win there, and what your interest level would be, and all that stuff. But it didn't get it didn't get past that, and I wouldn't tell that. I wouldn't tell details of what was talked about in a private conversation to you or anybody else. But I will tell you this, good people, love the people there, love the place, wish them the best, just not at our expense. And tomorrow would be at our expense if we don't play better. So that's what I'm focused on.
Curious, after the BYU game, you said the team needs some time away from each other. Have you been in a situation like that with the team before where you felt that that is necessary, and what do you feel
Absolutely.
like maybe led up to that?
Absolutely. I've been in that situation. How many years have I been doing this? Everybody goes through that situation every year. But when I said time away from, I didn't say time away from each other. I thought I said time away from us and us from them, which hopefully makes them do this. So that's what I was referring to. But to answer your question, when you get back at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday, there's not a lot of stuff done on a Wednesday. So we had a good practice session yesterday, but it hasn't been like we've had a ton of time together. But to your point, we had a ton of time together in Utah, and that didn't really, ring any bells as far as a really positive trip. So I think time away from us and us from them was probably something that needed to happen, even though it was only 24 hours.
And is that any different than what you've experienced in the past, referencing, other times you've felt that?
No. I said this, I think I said it to Sam. The thing about it is with teams and with coaches, the public sees the results, but the public doesn't see what goes into results. So sometimes winning can camouflage some of the same issues that you've had in the past. And I don't know one team ever that talks about things that happen amongst the team publicly. Because we all deal with stuff, just like your family deals with stuff, just like your kids deal with issues. Everybody's got issues. The difference is I've got 20 children, and I've got an extended family and everything. So there's always things that come up. That's life, but those aren't public things. But the results are public. And right now the results suck. So that is what people see, and rightfully so, because that's what's public. But anything else beyond that, that will not be discussed at any time. And there's no excuses. We haven't performed well, so we can talk about but this and that. No, we haven't performed to the level that we're capable of performing at. Period.
Bill, in recent times, some schools have hired for football and basketball a general manager. Has that ever been like a thought process of maybe Kansas hiring a general manager, or have you thought about that?
Yeah. I think that in today's new time, I think you think about everything. Now, I will tell you this. You don't hire somebody just to hire somebody or to fill a position. What role does somebody like that do you really see being in your program? Could it be beneficial? Absolutely. Could it be detrimental? Absolutely. How much weight are you going to give to somebody to have that much influence when you may not trust that judgment or certain things? But in all honesty, I'm going to tell you this point blank: the head coach is still going to be the ultimate general manager. Even if you hire a general manager, there's going to be a president. There's going to be somebody over the general manager, and that somebody is going to be the person that's in charge of that program, regardless of the situation. Now, can the general manager handle, well, we're going to have one person that deals with all the agents. We're going to have one person that deals with this. We're going to have one person on a salary cap and how you do that. And then you get into Moneyball, which sounds great in theory. But well, this person shoots this percentage from the right wing, and this percentage on effective field goal percentage, and this percentage in raw shooting percentage, and this and that. So somebody that does that at this level is worth this much. What about the eye test? There's a lot of things that go into it. So would it be a consideration? Absolutely. Have I thought about it? Absolutely. But that doesn't have anything to do with why we played poorly, and and a lack of energy and things like that. That didn't have anything to do with that.
If you were to hire somebody, is there certain things you look for? Like, what would you want that person to do? Obviously, you said if a general was hired, obviously the head coach has more precedence. But in a role like this, the general manager, is there a specific thing that you want them to help you out with?
Well, I'm not saying that I am going to do that, but I would say the biggest thing that they could probably do would be an elite fundraiser. If you can bring in dollars that you're not presently bringing in, I would say that would be a great role that somebody could potentially have. And you got, obviously some public things that have happened. Duke's hired, obviously, a GM going back 2 years. You've got St. Bonaventure that's done it. You've got Stanford that went out and hired, Andrew Luck. You've got other people that are hiring people, but what role do they actually have within a basketball program as opposed to what the role they would have within an athletic department? There's a lot of things to think about, but yes, that is certainly a consideration for sure. Good question.
Your thoughts on the Cowboys? They just scored over 100. How have they improved since early on?
Well, I think that what we'll see tomorrow is probably as quick and as athletic and as fast-playing team as we played all year long. I know Steve wants to shoot the ball quick, and he wants to pressure, and they're going to play up the line, and they're going to force you to make plays. There's a lot of things that they do very, very, very well. They have been inconsistent I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, just like we've been inconsistent. But when they've been good, and they were really good the other night. And Bryce was great, and Usman can really score. They got some really nice pieces, and they're extremely quick on the perimeter, probably as quick as anybody in our league. Yeah, we need to, obviously we need to be turned up and ready to go. But they've got a really nice team. They score so many points, Dave, from the free throw line. Their percentage of points from the free throw line, I think, is number one in the country. So they get fouled because they put pressure on you all the time.
It's amazing that we got through college, you and I, without social media. Since then, it's become more impactful, more everywhere. And maybe with NIL, even more vicious, even though I don't read it. People send me stuff that's posted. I remember asking Hunt why he read that stuff. He just says he gets bored. Just your comment on what it is today and what you do to make it so it doesn't get in the way of what you're doing.
Well, first of all, I know I'll probably disappoint many people out there that post, in that I don't read any of their stuff. So whatever message they're trying to get to me isn't heard, at least by me. Now it could be by family members or whatever, but that's not by me. The thing that I think is this. I think it's even though it stinks, but I also think it adds an element of togetherness and toughness that should be provided when things are said or done that is inconsistent with what is actually happening, what players know to be actually true. There are some things that are said by others that are 100% on point. Nobody can argue with that. There's some things that are said that are semi on point, but is the context ever the way that anybody actually sees it doesn't have a front row seat to actually what's going on. And there's some things that are just absolutely, out there just to try to get a bite or a reaction. And, the thing about it is I think the best thing that players can do is don't read the good. And if you don't read the good, you're not have an inkling to read what's not good. I do the same way with the media, with you guys, in that I used to actually read what people wrote. But when you read good things, you got to be thick-skinned enough and tough enough to understand if somebody writes something good, then they have every right to write something that may not be as positive whenever they do it. I respect that. I don't have an issue with that. I think it's harder for young people to actually grasp it because so much of social media is tied to their own identity and how they see themselves based on how other people look at them. That's what makes it harder for young people, I think. And I actually believe social media has a lot to do with shaping how youngsters feel about themselves and their self-confidence in many ways. That's not all positive. But there's some positive things about it too. But I think as an athlete in today's time, where the appearance is this and the way it is, then you got to understand something. If this is the way it is, and you want to maximize the way it is now, you got to understand that there's going to be some people look at you or look at us differently because the expectations have naturally changed, because no longer are you a guy we're watching grow up right in front of our eyes. You're a guy that is making money as we watch you perform. And it may not be a situation where we watch you grow up in front of our eyes because we don't see you for 3 or 4 years. Your evaluation is based on the time that you're here, which very rarely moving forward is going to be 3 or 4 years. So hey, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, it goes both ways. This is what the rule is. This is what you want. This is what you bargained for. This is what your agent fought for. This is it. So now maybe opinions are going to be a little bit tougher because of that. I think that you see it all the time in the world of professional sports. Guy signs a max contract, then he doesn't deliver the same way he signs a max contract. It's great making that money. But now, we're paying you all this money, and this is all you bring to the table. Are you kidding me? I would think doing that in some cities may not be the most pleasant as everything's kumbaya and everything's, fine. So I think that's part of and I've told our players this many times. Some of the unintended consequences that you're going to feel are real. And people have a right to feel however they're going to feel. But the perception of how everything goes down isn't always going to be 100% factual and accurate. Just like an article that was written, I'm not going to say there weren't parts of that weren't true. I'm going to tell you there were certainly parts in it that wasn't remotely true. But, if I comment on it, now it becomes tomorrow's story. And if I don't, it was today's story and it's gone by tomorrow. So that's kind of how I look at it. And guys should look at it social media wise the same way, because if you don't like it, then do something about it and change it, because it'll be yesterday's news. And the great thing about basketball in college is you lose. You perform poorly, it gives you every person a right to have an opinion and to shape a perspective in how they see it. It's fair. It's true. I actually do the same thing. But the story still hasn't been written yet. Or in football, it could be written, because if you don't make the top 12, you're done. In basketball, it's not written yet. So there's been plenty of times where a national champion didn't win their league. And we've won the league 17 of the last 21 years here, counting this year, if I'm not mistaken. And how many fans really relish in us winning the league? Or do they relish in how the season ends? So the story hadn't been written yet. I mean, somebody tell me if fan base remembered every Final Four year. 16 times in 50 years or 51 years is pretty good. Think about that. 30% of all NCAA tournaments that Kansas has been in, they've gone to the Final Four. It's pretty good. Over time. Who remembers those Final Fours unless you cut down a net? It's the way it works. So the story hadn't been written yet. But with that being said, we put ourselves in a position where we actually deserve a lot of the things that's probably being said, which I don't know everything's being said. But the bottom line, if you want to change that, then fix it. And we have fortunately shown that when we're at a good level, pretty damn good. And unfortunately, we've shown that when we're not, we can be really, really hard to watch. So, which is it going to be? That's kind of how I see this. So, and if the social media and the criticism gets to us right now to the point that deflates us, we're not tough enough to win anyway. So this would be a great testing spot for us. In order to get to where we want to go, we got to get tougher. Maybe this will be the thing that helps us get tougher. So I it's just life.
On your show yesterday, you talked about treating this game like the first game of a new season.
I am.
How do you feel like that message has resonated with the team, and what are the challenges in making them all feel that way?
I don't know that there is a challenge. Why wouldn't you feel that way? That's my point. To our team, it's like, all right, you want to hang on to something that we don't have, try to protect an 8-7 league record? Is that really what this place is all about? I've done this with players throughout my entire career. A guy shooting crappy non-conference, hey, guess what? You're 0 for 0. New season. Well, the new season just happens to start tomorrow for us as opposed to December 31st when West Virginia beat us. The new season starts tomorrow. And if that isn't something that can resonate with guys, then I don't know what can. But I think that's actually something that resonates with me because, we finished strong these last 5 games. We put ourselves in a position to have momentum going into the Big 12 tournament and if we play well, the postseason tournament. But there's no guarantees of any of that happening. But I do believe that I like our chances if, in fact, we can actually have fresh minds and a fresh start.
Along those lines, last year at this time, as the team was kind of
Well,
getting toward
yeah.
the finish, injuries, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about this group?
This group, we got Shaq to speed up. But other than that, guys, we're actually relatively healthy. And we're still playing poorly. But we're actually relative. Last year, guys, I don't know if you guys knew this. I mean, we had no chance going to the Big 12 tournament last year. You got Hunter out, you got Kevin out. You're just trying to put a team out there that can be competitive and that kind of stuff. We play Gonzaga, and even though we got hammered by Gonzaga, we're ahead at halftime by a point or two. But the Sanford game took us out of the Gonzaga game in many ways because we didn't have the depth to actually play guys 30 minutes. You got to play guys 38 minutes in a game like that. We were gassed. Not an excuse. That's just the way it was because we didn't have any depth. This year, at least knock on wood to this point, we have health. So there's no excuse in my mind. This year's team is more equipped to finish strong than what last year's team was, positively.
What is the number one reason you feel that way? It beyond the health, is there something about this group that?
You know what I think it is? I've seen it. With last year's group, after Kevin got hurt, did we really see it? We may have had a decent game or two, but did we really see it? And then when Hunt got hurt, did we really see it? Right now, with the group that's out there playing, we've seen it. So to me, that gives me plenty of reason to be optimistic moving forward if we're able to line up our intangibles with, health and that kind of stuff, a sense of urgency. I do feel very optimistic about it.
Can Shaq go tomorrow?
Probably. But I don't know 100% yet because he's not going to be 100% again this season. So he's going to be day to day. How do we get through it and how do we? So yes, can he? Probably, but I don't know, Gary, how he's going to feel tomorrow.
Same foot.
Yeah, same foot.
One thing you would like to do on offense, one thing on defense to make it go a lot smoother both ways. Not that it's been terrible, but what one thing on each area?
Offensively, to get one or more good shots each possession, and defensively to give up one or less shots per possession. That would probably, just to be simplistic. I still think that when you play with pace and ball and body movement offensively, I still think that's the way that gives this team the best chance to play. I also believe that defensively, there needs to be more of a pride factor because we've shown we can be elite defensively. What are our national numbers right now, even after this past week's performance? What are we still top 10 on? Huh? Sixth. That crap that we saw last week is sixth. Think about that. But that's also a team that held Iowa State to 52 in 40, but gave up 60 in 20. There's a lot of things. So I actually believe that there's a pride, a connection that hasn't existed sometimes that makes it where we're not as effective. But I also think that's also some things that aren't necessarily defensive, that are more intangible things that if the team does, will be better defensively. So.